$311,000. Well, one of the things I want to let everybody know, those cans that you received are free. I know some people have said that the city is trying to make extra money. That's why we're trying to make you go to those authorized cans. Those cans are absolutely free. The city had a grant for $311,000 from ADEM that we received 2,000 cans as well as one new recycling truck. So you don't pay anything for those bins. You don't pay anything for recycling. You don't pay anything for your trash pickup. The only thing you pay is $27 for garbage. So I need all of you all when you leave here tonight to be my mouthpiece, to be able to share with people when they're talking about the certain things that the city is doing and how we're trying to create additional revenue. We're not doing that. We're basically giving you 2 out of the 3 services without even charging you for those services. And if you think that our services are bad, maybe you need to contact Mountain Brook and some of these people that have the private haulers. And if you talk to some of those communities, you would really appreciate what we do for you here in the city of Irondale. So anybody have any questions about recycling or the app before we get into the focus group? Okay. You need to have the city can. We're trying to condition everybody to get used to the city can, and then we will revisit after a few months, and we may bring on the cans that people have already purchased. I purchased one 2 or 3 years ago, but I make sure that I use the city can. Former Councilman Sanderson was responsible for the first little bins that we had. So right now we want you to use the city issued cans. But we want you to use the city issue cans. Yes, that was the reason. Uh, okay, Lee, is that on the app? You can do it on the app. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. So we got everybody moving in one accord. Marsha. Yes. So far we've delivered 1,800 cans. It's within the 300 that we still got left. Right. Yes, that is correct. And we, like I said, this is not a perfect science. We had to have some cutoff point to get everybody conditioned to being able to use the larger cans. It all has to do with the contamination rate. And some people say, well, hey, I've always done the right thing. I always make sure that my boxes are, moisture free. But when you're on the back of that truck and you got the ride through about 2,000 homes, we don't know that. That was the whole thing behind going to a can that everybody has with a lid on top of it, because we pay for recycling. We pay $65 for clean recycling. We pay $115 for contaminated recycling. And this is a free service. And we could just throw it in the garbage for $36. So if you do the math on that, $36 for your regular garbage that we pick up, $65 for clean, $115 for contaminated. We went to this to make sure that something has a lid on it, because trying to cut down on the contamination rate so we don't have to pay that much, for it. So just bear with us. Again, we just need your patience to hang on in there with us. And I mean, I do it on a regular basis, is stand over that blue can, and it's exercise for me to tear those little boxes up to the smallest denominator to be able to get them in the can. So right now, we're just asking if you would do that, but we will be revisiting that based on how everything is going. Give us a chance to be able to analyze it and to be able to see how things are going, and then we'll make some adjustments to it. We don't want to make it difficult for anybody to do anything. Um, no, you can keep them. You can do whatever you want. You would like to do with them. Oh, we're not picking them up. That's why they're sitting out there. We're not going to pick them up. So they'll just be sitting out into the yard until that individual either call down here to see why it didn't pick up, why it wasn't picked up, and then they can get one of the extra cans that we have here. Well, we're not recycling them. So if you want to recycle them, you can, but we're not recycling them here. But let me get to the focus group and why we're here. But since we have such a great crowd, I know that those were things that we've been dealing with this week, and I just wanted to be able to share with you all some of the method behind the madness and why we do what we do. Short. Well, good evening again to everybody. I'm glad that you're here to be able to give your input about the brand new library that we're getting ready to have here in the city of Irondale. City of Irondale has not had a new building in over 50 years. So I think that it's about time for us to be able to move forward. Everything has a useful life, and we want to make sure that we provide our citizens with the best of everything. That's what we thrive to do, is to be efficient and effective in everything that we do. And that's why we have you here tonight, because we want to be able to get your input on how to be able to build the best library on this side of Jefferson County. We embarked on this journey, what was it, Dale, last year? And Dale and Michelle, I call them, they're kind of like a radio show, but Michelle is not with us anymore. And we just began to have the discussion about creating or building a brand new library. Where would it be? We looked in several different places. We looked at the land. It's about 30 some odd acres off of Old Leeds Road that is below the water tank. If you all familiar with that property, that is there, but it's 33 acres. They wanted $4.3 million for that amount of acreage. So that was a little expensive for our blood there. And we wanted to be in a place that it was kind of centrally located, that the library is visible, and that it's something that everybody can get to in such a quick drive, which, I mean, going through the city of Irondale is not like you driving to the other side of Birmingham to get to one place for another. I'll try to address some of the things that I've heard, so we'll have extra time to be able to talk about some additional things. The first thing that had been mentioned, what are we going to do with the property down here? If you followed the master plan that we had created for the city, we talked about redeveloping the downtown area. So the library is a part of that redevelopment. That building will not stay there. We will be building either an entertainment district with retail, with shops, with residential as a part of that development. We're trying to get rid of this building, which is City Hall. We've already found a place for the library. We're looking to move the police station across the street and to be able to consolidate the 4 different departments into one building. And we're also looking to move Public Works. Once we move all of those buildings out of the downtown area, I am going to Huntsville on Wednesday to be able to pick up an application for the city to apply to become a Main Street city. Main Street is an organization that helps you to be able to redevelop your downtown. If you're one of those cities that are chosen by them to be able to do that, they provide you with the technical assistance to be able to facilitate that. So downtown, or this area, will not look the same, hopefully, within the next 3 to 5 years, because we're going to redevelop everything. All of these buildings are old, and we want to be able to create something that is fresh and new. We want to be considered to be a cool city, a hip city, to be able to have contemporary things that will attract all generations to come and to be a part of it. So that's the first thing. Not only is the library no longer going to be here, but the goal is also to move all of the rest of these buildings here and to be able to redevelop the area. Second thing is, we didn't move to Grants Mill Road because we are trying to use the library for economic development. We're not trying to use it for economic development, but we are trying to use it for community development. And community development is having a place where people can meet, fellowship, and get to know their neighbors. That's why we are moving it, not for, they messed up commercial development on Grants Mill Road when they didn't put the road in the right way about 12 years ago. They were supposed to put this road in Grants Mill in a way that you could have commercial development on both sides of the road. However, when they put the road in, they failed to do that because the first contractor went bankrupt, and then they had to bring somebody else in to be able to finish it, and that's what they did. They finished the road. They didn't design it in a way that is really could be the commercial corridor that it should be. So we did not move it to be able to spur commercial development, but we are moving it there to be able to build community development. Trying to see if there's one more thing. Lee, anything else you heard? Okay, if not, pull out your cell phones, and you will need your cell phone for this exercise. And if you are at home looking on Facebook, we also want you to participate in this as well. We have 3 questions that we want to ask everybody that is here as well as on Facebook. I feel like Pastor Chris up here with the screen and everything. But the first question is, well, first of all, either scan the QR code or go to slido.com and put in this code. And when you all get it, everybody let me know when you've had a chance to be able to put that in. Some of you all are overachievers. You already put it in and answering the question at the same time. Has everybody had a chance to be able to get in?
That's for the city. So this is something different. And we can see in the top right corner, we've got 17 people that have responded so far.
And the question is, do you have a library card? We need you all to respond. There's about 40 people in here. So how many we got so far? And we're up to 29, 30. All right, we're stuck on 30. Going once. Going twice. All right. Well, as you can see, 86% of the people in this room have a library card. 14% of you all do not have a library card, which means that 14% of you all need to sign up for a library card. All right. Our second question, well, it got up to 38, Emma, so I did pretty well. Second question is, on average, how often do you visit any library in Jefferson County? We'll put that on the next focus group. All right, we got 41 people to respond. 32% says weekly, 23% says monthly, periodically is 23%, once or twice a year, 16%, 7% says never, and 0% says never, I don't use the library. So we just wanted to give you a idea of what's the makeup of the people that use the library and how often you use the library. And our last question is, select the 3 features most important to you as we plan the future of the Irondale Public Library. All right, we're waiting for one more person. We had 41. There he goes. Well, 43. We got more people on this one than we have on the other. We had a video that we were going to show. It was I guess you could say CBS did a little short video on how libraries are changing. Yes, it's about the books, but it's all about the other things that you can do in the library as well. Like I said, being a meeting place, they had where groups were coming to be able to exchange seeds for their gardens. They had things for senior citizens to come and to be able to do activities there. So this is not only going to be a place where we will have books and you'll have digital access to things, but we want to make sure that you have the latest and the greatest. And being able to do this survey gives us an idea of what are the top 3 features that you would like to see. Number 1 was books, DVDs, magazines, and audiobooks. I mean, what would a library be if it didn't have those things? Number 2 was programming and events. And number 3 was community meeting space. You all pretty much hit a lot of the things that we've talked about, discuss these things with Dell and how we want to make sure that the community has input when we begin to develop this structure. Anybody have any questions so far? And also I'll address the question about walkability. We've heard that too, that if the libraries move, then a lot of people won't be able to walk to the library. I think for the last 2 years anyway, I'm probably downtown and in this building more than anybody else is in this building. And to be honest with you, I don't really see a lot of people walking to the library. Not that I'm standing out there 24/7 to be able to see that, but I know that the community school will come here from time to time, but they've come here to City Hall to be able to hear us talk about how to be able to maneuver through municipal government. So there are people that walk to the library, but my assessment is that it is not a sufficient amount of people that walk to the library that should hinder us from moving to another location. So at this time, there were questions about the layout of the library, and this is nothing that's etched in stone. We just wanted to give you a visual of what it could look like. One thing that I do know that is going to be 16,000 square feet. The current library we have is only 8,000 square feet. We don't know exactly what the cost is going to be, but I've talked about budgeting $10 million to be able to build this state-of-the-art library. So we're going to be the talk of the town once this library is built, because it's going to be exactly what you all asked for. But at this time, to answer more details about it, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Charles Williams, who is the architect, and I think he'll be able to help you all to understand the layout and what are some of the things, materials, sustainability, LEED certified, that we're going to try to put into this building. Charles?
Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm Charles Williams with Charles Williams and Associates, architects in Birmingham. It's not going to be LEED certified. That's a cost that we can do a lot of sustainable items without going for the certification, which is essentially a lot of paperwork and another layer of things on top of what you would have for you to have a sustainable library. So that's something that we just want to get out ahead of that. There are some LEED certified buildings in Alabama, but if you go and talk to, I think UAB does that, and they've even dialed back on getting the certification. So we will have this as sustainable within the budget that we can get. So it is going to have a lot of sustainable features, use of natural light. The great thing about this site is that this is to the north, and so you can have a lot of direct sun or direct light. So you're not going to get that southern glare that you would get if everything was coming at you from the south. This property actually goes up that bluff as they were talking about. So, and yes, I'll have to check the survey again, but I do believe this is the parcel number one, and then parcel number two is back here, and then that's going to go abut your parcel that's on top of that hill. This is the Circle Road access, I believe someone was talking about, and so you can see that that's still, we have to keep that open in order for these properties on this side, and I believe there's one on the corner right here, that this person has to have access to Grants Mill Road. So that's why that's going to stay open. We don't know what the building's going to look like yet, and I'm glad to hear about the issues with the glare off the metal roof, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't done anything. Well, we've done a lot of things. We've toured a lot of libraries. We've come up with a program somewhat. I really appreciate the survey that you guys just completed. That's going to help us and move us along the road on a lot of things. So the more community input, the better. We want this to feel like it's your project and not us pushing something on the community. So we have been working closely and having multiple meetings with the library staff, and we will continue to have that. I believe Mayor Stewart is going to have some follow-ups to this meeting just to keep everybody in the loop. And if anything starts to get off track, if there's something that's just sticking out that the community is appalled about, we will make sure to address that. So that's where I am on that, unless there are any questions for, yes.
This new building, is this going to be a building that we can expand on in the future? Is this property sufficiently sound that we can build upward, put more floors on this building so that we can expand in the future? Because that's one of the shortcomings of the building we have now. It's not big enough. And it can't be expanded on. Whereas that, if it's built on good enough ground and a good enough structure or a planned for structure, it'll be sufficient that it can be expanded in the future in the event that we need more space.
So this is currently it's going to be a single story building. And with a single story building, if it were a 2-story building, we would already have a stairwell in the building and then an elevator as well. And so usually when we do buildings that we're going to expand up vertically in the future, we would deal with the structure that way, and we would start with a 2-story building. Single-story building, having to do all of that additional space for the stairwell that you need to have, for the elevator that you would need to have, which eats up a significant amount of the space. What we would do then is, instead of expanding vertically, we would go longitudinally down and just move out. And so we can go the extent of our property. I believe from here to there is somewhere around 400 to 500 feet. So we have the space to expand along the single story.
My thought was just that if we outgrow that, we're gonna need more, and we should plan for potential expansion.
Duly noted. Any other?
You mentioned the property behind this.
Mhm.
At what point, I see your topographical lines there. I don't see where they all come real close together to show.
Right about here. So
That's the edge of the.
yeah, so behind so we're gonna put the
The bluff is it's about 100.
yeah, but this is where the hill starts to get very steep. And so as you go up, go down to the south, you start to go up that bluff. And so
Basically like this.
yeah, so we're at the base. We're putting the library at the base of that hill, so to speak. So you guys are possibly 100, maybe more feet above where the library is going to be. We are, but not building on it. This would be some natural trails and things like that. So we're working with landscape architects in order to get that accomplished. And keep in mind, if you're worried about anybody wandering onto your property, that's going to be we're going to deal with that prior to any kind of construction.
I was also going to say, he just showed me a larger view of that. I do like the layout with the building being at that back of the property, that therefore the parking, the noise in the front of the building is cut down from coming back our direction.
Yeah, we're doing that for some other reasons also, but yes, that's correct. Yes, ma'am.
Put trails behind that building.
We don't have plans. We don't have any plan. What you see here is the only plan, but there are mental plans to do something like that. And Mayor and everybody else, stop me if I'm speaking out of turn.
How much of the 7 acres is that?
This is about half of the 7 acres. So it's and then the next parcel here is the second half.
So is the future development that y'all were talking about, possibly looking at like community spaces, outdoor, outdoor spaces and everything else, but what I'm seeing here, there's not really any space with the general layout. This is a fairly, equivalent design for what y'all have in mind. The idea of outdoor spaces and outdoor seating, usability for gatherings or community gatherings, there's not a whole lot there.
Well, you'd be surprised. And so just for scale, this is the dentist office that's on the property. And so this 16,000 square feet is fairly large. But there's a lot of space around this property that can be used for the green space, outdoor seating, the community space as well. And there is within this 16,000 square feet a large community room, and that's probably going to be twice the size of this one.
there a possibility of some type of an amphitheater there?
Yes, there is. With the grade that you have here, the natural grade that goes up, we can easily have okay. This is not what Birmingham can do. What I mean by amphitheater is like, if you wanted to have, let's say you guys in this room, and I was on the stage, and you wanted to have like maybe 2 or 3 tiers up and kind of shaped around, and that's something that you would have. Not a 50,000 square foot or seat theater, anything like that. That is everything's on the table, and we will.
An amphitheater in our back. I think it's described as like an outdoor classroom.
Yeah, this is not going to have something with speakers and microphones and lights and anything like that. This is.
Let me share this with you. This makes it come. We don't have to squeeze everything on this piece of property. Just purchased 140. We got 105 acres that we just purchased on the Highway 78, right across the street. We have this Lower Temple, 105 acres that we just purchased. The hospital property that didn't come to the city of Birmingham, 160 acres. We have 265 acres to play around with up there to be able to do those things if we want to do those things that you all think that may go to that piece of property. We also have we also purchased some property with Freshwater Land Trust, Jefferson County, 12 acres right across the street from Church of the Highlands. That's going to be developed into over 200 acres of trails. So we're not trying to get everything on that piece of land there because we have really acquired a lot of land this year. 143 acres. We're getting ready to build a new fire station number 3. We're also getting ready to build a training center on that 143 acres. We were able to purchase that 143 acres for $300,000. So we have plenty of options. So I don't want everybody to think that we're going to just cram. No, the reason that you're here is to be able to give us feedback. There is nothing that has been decided up to this point. This is only to give you a conceptual drawing of what it could be, but we haven't agreed to do anything. And when we come up with that final concept, we're going to come back to you and for you to be able to give us feedback. It's just the possibility. It's only the possibility. That's what I'm saying. Nothing is etched in stone. That's why I wanted to give you all the big picture for you to think, or you can see that we're just not trying to cram everything onto this piece of property because we have so much additional property that we're getting ready to. We have a dog park that's getting ready to go out to bid for 9.6 acres that was called Ellert Park for over $400,000. We're getting ready to renovate Ruffiner Park. Those old baseball fields are getting ready to go away, and we're getting ready to build a new athletic sports complex there, around $3 million to be able to do that. So we have a lot of different little areas to be able to play around with, but this did give me an opportunity to kind of let you know. Don't worry, we're going to make sure that you all are part of the process, and we, like I said, we don't want to do anything that would negatively affect your property.
That front lot is about in the middle of what used to be a lake. Is that ground sufficient for building that?
I'm glad you asked that because we have maybe 2 months ago at the council meeting, we had the city engineer to come in and to be able to do a report on that property because we kept getting bombarded with, hey, I passed by there. I've been going by there for 20 years. He threw a lot of rock in there. We don't think that it's stable, and this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. And I always tell people, I do have an MPA degree, but I don't have a PE degree. So we let the engineers do what the engineers do, and the engineers determine that that land is sufficient to be able to hold everything that you see on that particular piece of property.
right here. Is there any possibility that any of this is gonna be cleared? I know they cleared the right here to build the library, but the rest of the wooded area,
I don't know.
they're gonna try to clear it.
We don't know. We have no desire to try to go up the hill.
My biggest concern was the road here, because keeping it open, I understand that people here are gonna have access, but by leaving it open, to me, left it open if the city wanted to sell this property here and build something else.
The city,
There's no plan.
the city has no plan to sell the property. That's why we purchased all of the property, to be able to control it and to be able to do what we want to do with it. Okay. Trey?
One, personally, I live very close to this. I'm 3728 Village Drive in the middle. I'm happy this is not going to be city-owned property, going to be, yes, for starters. Second of all, you in particular and everybody else been involved with this has held up the Vestavia Library in the Forest as one of the models that everybody kind of looks to as the idea for this particular library. I have a friend who lives on the road with the library. They love having it there. It is not a nuisance, or it doesn't cause any extra noise or anything for them. They're very happy to have it close by.
And every property that is within a half mile of Vestavia's library in the forest, the property values went up 18 to 30% in 5.
Well, one thing I can tell you all, before the city decided to have the property, I did have a developer to come in and meet with me. And guess what that developer wanted to put there? Just what we need in Irondale, another public storage. So, saying all that to say, it's a good thing that we ended up buying it instead of the public storage people ended up buying it, because he tried to tell me about this new cool concept and you wouldn't know that it was public storage. But I'm like, no, public storage is public storage. So, so we did get an opportunity to be able to dodge that bullet.
Walking trails, the nature trails around there, they don't go into other people's properties, the cities, it's all, it's self-contained, it's managed, and it's absolutely beautiful. And it's, I grew up in Vestavia, and I'm used to the whole civic center space, and going back, seeing what they built in the forest and everything, it's like, wow, this is enormous. I mean, it's right there on 31, which can be kind of noisy, but anyway, now the other thing about the amphitheater is that there's the Avondale Amphitheater that's used for children's plays and for jazz in the park. Then it being about concerts. And it's, yeah, we love it. We're not talking about the one
We're
going.
not talking about living around, we're talking about living from here to the
Yeah,
street.
there are houses that sit directly above the Avondale Park that we're talking about. Most people don't know when things are happening unless they have ample time.
Covered by the same kind of woody frame.
All right, we want everybody to talk this way and not that way.
Straight up. You guys are talking about like little outdoor rooms that have maybe 20 seats. I think that could fit in almost an acre, right?
Yes. Well, yes. Well, one of the things we're going to do tonight, if you look around the room, there are 4 posters. And we want everyone to go to those 4 posters and to be able to give us feedback so we can capture that information as we continue to refine what the library is going to include, look like, and all of those different things. Yeah. John?
It's some difficulty in trying to put together historical documents and stuff. They've been shifted all around. Is there any plan to have anything like this at the library?
I would say put that on one of the posters. No, I'm saying it's a poster back in the back called Special Collections. Craig.
I was just glad to hear the architect say that he's looking at libraries. And what Trey, the other gentleman, said about this stadium being an excellent example is, another one I would mention to you, if you haven't checked it, it's trustless. It's another new one, and it's an excellent one. And one feature they have that we would love to see is in their meeting room, they have a small stage. It's only about 1 or 2 steps up, but that enables them to do some things that have been difficult in our library, like when Dolores Hydock came and the place was totally filled up. You were in the back, you couldn't see nothing but the top of her head. So a little type of platform or stage in there would just be something I think we should consider.
Okay. All right. Well, again, we love your input. We're glad that you came out tonight. We want to be good stewards of your time as well. Therefore, if there are not any more questions, or I'm sorry, you can go ahead. It's your time. It's your season. It's your season.
So, you know, as wonderful as this is, I'm a book person. It's my life. So, I love that this is being developed and turned into something incredible. And I hear you when you say that this is, on this side, is going to be developed into something wonderful as well. But I cannot help but feel like I'm losing my library. I know I'm still in Irving, but
And it's right up the street.
from over here. So yes, I think in the future, I know tonight is probably not tonight, but in the future, if we could hear about what we're gaining here, because it for me, I do walk to this library. My 2-year-old walks, and we feel safe doing it. We check out the books and return them, and he destroys them, and they're so sweet. They're like, oh my God, it's fine. Anyway, they don't matter. So yes, but we love our sweet library. So
Well, the same people gonna be working at the library. They're not going anywhere. Well, what about if we put you a little bookstore down here when we redevelop the entertainment center? If we okay. Well, we can work that out. So when we come out and do our Main Street planning implementation, I want all of you all to be here to be able to help us with that as well. So, Adrian. Okay, I'll let Emma.
We're gonna have an online survey option that we're gonna put out where you'll be able to answer these type questions, but also have some open comment space on there for you to just expand upon the things you're talking about. Look for that this week.
Doesn't say anything on there about a meeting room. Right there on the right, all that.
All words are different,
Yeah.
so please make sure you move it all.
All right. Do you all have any method to the madness that you all have to say to the building? Say something. I would be remiss if I did not talk about our wonderful head of the library here, Miss Dale Wilson. You all give Dale a hand. Dale is one of the sweetest women that I know. She has a gentle spirit. She's always been a team player, even since when I was a city clerk. She was always trying to do what's in the best interest of the city of Irondale. And a lot of times in government, you don't find people like Dale, and especially Dale. Do you mind me telling them how many years you got here? Well, you tell. She has 45 years. So when she started working here, that the building that she's in now was 7 years old. So Dale, you want to say something?
Well, we're thrilled, of course. You can only imagine how thrilled the staff is, the library board. The library board's right here on this row that we appreciate. Former library board members are in this room, our friends group. some of the members are in this room, and we're just thrilled. We are very thankful that the mayor and the city council have done what needs to be done to move this project forward. We're just so excited about the opportunity to have a new building. And, we're going to have a meeting room. We're hoping to have maybe a flexible space. That's one of the things that's sort of new, to where, when things change again in 10 years, the building could be a little more adaptable. We plan to have some small study rooms. That's one of the things we get asked about often. Probably weekly, we get asked about that. But there's just going to be more room for children, teens, adults, and outside space that we've never had before. As you know, there's just hardly any room around the library. Parking space, we don't have enough parking space. When we have Dolores High Dock, it's just terrible with the parking. So we look forward to having you tell us some of the things that you think would be most important. And we have Tamara Hugh is our associate director, and our and our newest staff member is our children's and teens librarian. She just started this month, and Jenny Edwards. And so we'll be around. It's these posters, and we have dots for everybody. Can have 6 dots. You can't have endless dots. And for you to tell us some of the things that you look forward to seeing. Anybody have any questions? Okay. I guess we'll get to the dots.
You can.
Is there any idea when construction will start and how long it might take to build?
We're looking to probably go to the market to get the funding around June or July of this year. So construction will probably be, once we put it out for bid, that's probably another 30 days, mobilize them, hopefully at the end of the fiscal year, which is September. Well, the